Gridiron Grinder, hut hut hike.
And we are rolling. How's it going tonight, James?
It's going good. You?
It's going good. So, Friday night, Gridiron Grinder time. I'm Ryan, and obviously you are James. So, what'd you think about the week three games, man?
I thought there was a lot of unpredictability in it, a lot of upsets that I didn't see coming, which is
Like the
probably why
Lions?
yeah, like the Lions. It's funny because I had in the pre like in the preseason, I had them winning that game.
Yeah.
But
And then
like
after
that
Arizona came out to a hot start, and Detroit just was like sucking, yeah, we had to
yeah,
flip it.
it was I got 8 right last week, and like the 4 games I switched from like my preseason picks on the games
Yeah.
are the ones I got wrong.
Yeah, it was a tough week, man. I tell you, the one game that I just keep kicking myself was the Giants game. I don't know what the hell I was thinking picking them over the 49ers. And I know in my model it like just gave them the edge, but and I know we talked about it. I was like, man, it just doesn't seem right. And I mean, they just got crushed, man. Like it wasn't even close.
Yeah, I didn't think that game was going to be that close when I picked it. I had it like like a late field goal 49ers winning it.
Yeah, yeah. Instead, they just beat them down.
Yeah,
And
which
then
I
this
don't
week
know.
we'll get to it in a minute, but we're off to a rough start this week, both flipping our pick. Well, I don't know, did you flip too? Because I know originally I had Denver and then I flipped it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had
I
Denver
I
too
had
and then you
I had
flipped it.
yeah, last week when we did this, we both were on Denver, and then we looked at it, and with the third string quarterback and stuff, we both flipped to the Jets for some stupid ass reason, and
Yeah, we
that's
both
what
shit the
happens.
bed there. God, man, the Jets are so bad, man. It was such a hard game to watch. All right, well, hey, so I don't know. What do you think? You want to jump into the power rankings? We'll do
Yeah,
our
let's go.
updates. All right. So
Let's do it.
I kind of like the way we've been doing it by just taking the chunks of five. So why don't you give me your first five and we'll go from there?
So in my first 5, I flipped Kansas City and Baltimore back to where I had it before.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what I was thinking on that game. I was talking all preseason when we were doing this how Mahomes was going to win the MVP because he looked 1,000 times better than Jackson in the game when Kansas City beat them, and then I picked against it and flipped them because Baltimore was looking so phenomenal. And and then at 3, 4, and 5, I have Seattle, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, which next week actually, because I was looking at it more today, I'm probably gonna end up moving Seattle down a little bit because I didn't realize it, but that defense is freaking pathetic.
yeah,
I mean, they allow 497 yards a game.
yeah. It's pretty bad.
And I was like, I didn't realize it because Russell Wilson covers up all the flaws in that defense.
Yeah, he's just carrying that team. Yeah, I when I was doing mine this week, I was tempted to bump them up above Green Bay just because how hot Russell Wilson's been. But the more I kept thinking about it, I was like, Green Bay, they just seem like they're a little more of a well-rounded team, and so I kept Green Bay at three. But much like you, I flipped Kansas City and Baltimore, and shame on me for going against my word originally. I said I wasn't going to drop Kansas City until they lost, and then last week I just thought Baltimore was going to beat them, so it seemed like the time to drop them. But geez, man, they proved us wrong there. And the thing is, like a lot of people have been talking about it, is that the box score makes it kind of deceiving. It almost makes it look like Baltimore kind of hung in there, but uh, Kansas City, I think they missed a field goal, and then they went for it on one of the fourth downs that they didn't get, and so it's like, honestly, they could have like really blown them out. And there was a couple plays that just went the right way for Baltimore to keep it a little bit reasonable.
Yeah,
So
there was
yeah,
there no in the first, and I believe it was in the first half, they left 11 points on the field. They missed an extra point. missed a field goal,
Oh yeah, the extra
and
point. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
then there was a touchdown or something. I forget the exact scenario on that one, but it was just like from what I saw, it was 11 points they left on the field, and I mean the conversation might have to be started to have like who's going to beat this team this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean Baltimore is by far the best defense that they're going to face, and they just dismantled them.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's
I
hard to
mean,
say. I mean, I can't believe the Chargers were that close, and Baltimore just got manhandled.
yeah, well, it might be because it might have been they were just looking past the Chargers and focusing on how they were going to beat Baltimore and game planning for Baltimore. That's the only explanation on that.
Yeah, that could have been a factor for sure. Okay, so yeah, your top five. Like really looking at it, the big difference between me and you at this point is that I've got Pittsburgh at five, you've got Tampa Bay, and it looks like I got Tampa Bay at seven, and you got Pittsburgh at eight. So we're kind of like those two teams. We both like them, like in the invert of each other. I guess is one way of saying it. Um, but yeah, I mean, hey, looking at the rest of my top five with Green Bay at three, the one thing I thought worth pointing out there is that, um, their defense honestly may have been, I don't know if I would say exposed a little bit, but, there was, New Orleans was steadily moving the ball against them, and it was a lot of dink and dunk type of stuff. And so I think if you were a team and you got Green Bay on the schedule, you got to watch that tape because that's your way of like just kind of slowly controlling the clock and moving the ball down the field. I mean, you can do it. I think their defense is good, but it's obviously not great. And then, like you pointed out with Seattle, I mean, Russell Wilson, he's on fire. Their defense is a little bit streaky, though. So if anybody in the world can figure out how to slow down Russ, that could be the Achilles heel for Seattle.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Seattle is yeah, they're allowing 497 yards a game, but the majority of it's passing yards. Like their
Yeah.
pass defense is terrible. Their rush defense is great. Like it's something like they're allowing like 60 or 70 yards rushing a game and 420 some passing.
Yeah. Yeah. Just shootouts. All right. So, what do you think? 6 through 10, man. Who you got? Or
So
what did you change? I guess is probably a better way of looking at it.
I left Buffalo at 6, Arizona at 7, Pittsburgh. I bumped them up one spot. Um, this is more because I dropped Vegas down,
Hmm.
and the Rams were bumped up one spot to 9, and then I also brought New England up 3 spots, and I couldn't put New England ahead of any of the teams I have ahead of them yet.
Yeah.
But after how they dismantled Vegas, I couldn't justify Vegas being ahead of New England in my power rankings. So
Oh, it makes perfect sense. I agree. Yeah, when I did my 6 through 10, there were actually no changes from last week, and so I had Buffalo, Tampa Bay, New England, Tennessee, and then the Los Angeles Rams. And with Buffalo, it's one of these things where I liked where they're at. I can't put them ahead of anybody higher up than them because I like my top five a lot. And then, the fact that the Rams almost got back into it at the end of that game was a little bit of a concern. And so it's like, once you get outside of my top five, that's where I start to see some more cracks in some of these teams. And then Tampa Bay at 7, I think that these guys are moving in the right direction. And I like where they're at. They've stayed healthy, which has been huge.
so
And you,
Godwin's out this week though.
so I guess let me say they've stayed mostly healthy is the better way of putting it. And I guess Fournette got banged up too. I don't know what's going on with him, but but they're getting on the same sheet of music with the offense, and
Yeah.
you can see how it's helping the defense. And then with New England at 8, I don't know. I read some stuff because I didn't watch that game. I just read about it afterwards that they were being critical of themselves, that they could have played better. I don't know. From what I could tell, it seems like it wasn't really even in doubt. Like they were just clearly above the Raiders. But either way, and then Tennessee. I mean, hey, they got the kicking game back, and that was a nail biter of a game. But they're still winning, so I just kept them where they were at. And then with the Rams, honestly, I probably would have dropped the Rams like 1 or 2 spots because of the loss. But when I look at like the next 4 or 5 teams after them, they're all teams that basically they all lost. And so I'm like, well, I can't drop them all because then I'd be bumping somebody from like 17 to 10 or something, which I didn't think was the right thing to do either. And so plus, I think they're doing enough that I like what they're doing, and so I thought I'll stand pat for another week and see where it goes.
Yeah, and the other thing with the Rams too is that pass interference call that on 4th and 8 that led to the Bills' game-winning touchdown, touchdown. It was a terrible call. If you watch that play, the receiver initiated the contact. Like the defender was basically standing still. The receiver ran right into him, and then there was a little bit of contact as the receiver was getting off him. So
I know what you're talking about. I saw it. Yeah.
I don't think it was pass interference, but then again, earlier in the half, there was an interception that was given to the Rams that was not an interception.
Okay.
It's
so
like
maybe that was like we're going to give it back to you.
Yeah. So I mean, but I think the Rams are moving in the right direction. I think they're a lot better than I anticipated this year. They seem to have the running game coming good, and which is opening it up for Goff.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I was a little bit down on them this year going into the season, just when I looked at all the other teams in their division, and the change with the defensive coordinator had me worried. In the way that they let their couple of linebackers walk kind of had me worried. But I'm happy with what they're doing. I like that they've got the 3 running backs stable, and it's already paying dividends for them with the way some of the guys have kind of like been getting banged up in the rotation. Everybody else has been stepping up, and right now Darrell Henderson's the hot hand, and so they're just going to keep riding him, which is I think it bodes well for them.
Yeah.
All right, man. 11 through 15. Hit me.
So 11, I have Vegas. I dropped them 3 spots. I left Tennessee at 12, which Tennessee is going to be an interesting situation this year. Yeah. Like they lucked out with the game this weekend being canceled, and Pittsburgh and Baltimore having the same bye week and playing during Tennessee's bye week, so they could just move the game. But from what I'm reading, next week's game is also becoming in doubt for Tennessee.
Okay.
So,
because of the COVID stuff?
Yeah, because of the COVID, because they had 2 more. Like they have 14 players and player/personnel that have tested positive.
Oh man, I didn't know it got that high already. I knew that there were some new ones, but 14. Do you know how many of those are players versus?
I believe it was 9 players and 5.
Ooh, yeah, that's a lot of players, man. Yeah.
And so originally they were gonna shut down their facility till Saturday, which then they were hoping to reopen it on Monday, but reopening it on Monday is still in doubt because it's all from the same exposure. Basically, it's just slowly trickling in with the positive tests. Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing is next week's game might have to be canceled too.
Okay. Well, that's where we'll really see what happens. Like, what else can they do with the schedule? That's going to throw some wrenches in things.
Yeah, there's a couple. One thing they could do is they could, if need be, they could push back the playoffs a week and play.
Yeah, do a makeup week.
Yeah, but if it's just Tennessee that's having the issues and all the other teams get by, then I mean, is there really a point? And that's the Bills they
yeah,
have
like
next
if you
week, so
get to
that's
the
going to
end
be
of
an
the
important
year
game.
and Tennessee's not even in the playoff hunt, then yeah, why would you even bother? I got you.
Right, but next week's game is the Bills, which I mean, for one of those teams, that potentially could be an important game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right, so you got Tennessee at 12. It looks like
Yeah,
you dropped New Orleans down to 13.
yeah. I dropped New
Um,
Orleans down to 13. I again, it's the same thing. I'm really doubting Drew Brees.
yeah.
I also think Peyton's trying to get too cute with his offense.
Okay. Yeah, normally in the past it's worked for him, but it seems like this year teams are figuring it out.
Yeah, and I think what the team needs to do is needs to hide Taysom Hill from Peyton so he doesn't think about him and
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
put him in at quarterback to fumble the ball away.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the other way. It's like, hey, how about you try sneaking in Jameis Winston so you can drop a couple bombs and get the defense, having to sit back a little bit.
Exact, exactly. And then 14, I have Dallas. I had them at 14. And then my biggest mover this week is Chicago.
Yeah,
While
that's
I still
huge.
think
Plus 11, man. I like
I,
that.
s- I still think they're the worst 3-0 team.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I still have to give them the respect for the fact that they've gone 3-0. While they're combined, the three teams they beat are combined 1-8. It's
Hmm.
still like they came back against Detroit. They came back against Atlanta. This team's showing a lot of. And I forget what happened in the other game. I think it
Yeah.
was,
Week one
anyways,
or whatever. Or two.
week two. Yeah, but this team's showing a lot of fight, and I'm gonna respect the fact that they're no longer starting Trubisky
Yep.
and give and hope that Foles is the answer for them, but it's not. Plus with Chicago, Nagy seems to be using the passing game to complement the run game,
Yeah.
which is what he needs to do with the ability. But then again, isn't Tariq Cohen out now? So
Yeah,
what, what
I was just going to say that. That's one of the things that bums me out about Chicago is that I'm in favor of them moving to Foles. I thought they should have just started with him from the get go. And, I think it's tough because Tariq Cohen would have been a good running back for Foles leading that offense with the way they could have done some of the RPOs and the things that Foles excels at. And it's just going to take a little bit of that flavor away. But also, I just worry because with Foles, it's like it seems like his mo is coming in, later in the year when they need him to get hot for a couple games, and he comes through. But then it's like anytime there's a longer commitment, the wheels fall off. And so I'm like, oh man, maybe they put him in too soon. Maybe they should have waited for a potential playoff run and then squeezed him in. But I mean, hey, it's already paid off for them. He came back against Atlanta, and Trubisky, like, what are the odds he would have pulled it out like that? Obviously, they benched him because they had no faith, and so, and obviously Chicago's defense is dominant. So we'll see. I mean, they got potential, and I got Chicago at 16. So, we're pretty close on that one, I think.
yeah.
So yeah, with mine, I got New Orleans at 11, Dallas at 12, then Arizona, San Fran, and Indy. Basically 11, 12, 13. I kept those teams the same. I would have dropped New Orleans, but it was a close game. I think they played well against Green Bay, which I've got in my top three. So I kind of thought, it's really not necessary to punish them. With Dallas, same thing. I kind of wanted to drop them. Their defense really has me worried. But the teams behind them, I just couldn't. It's like I'm comparing like them in Arizona, and I'm like, really, I got them so close. Do I need to flip them or keep them the same? And then San Fran, I had dropped them down previously with all the injuries, and so now they're creeping back up. But I was like, but until they get healthy, can I really put them that much higher? I don't know. So I just this was the order I stuck with for this week. And then with Indy, honestly, that was the one where I thought, hey, I bumped them up 2 spots. I almost moved them up a couple more. But I thought, you know what, I need to see Rivers keep things in check for another week or two, and then I'll maybe be more comfortable just because, we know the double agent he is. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
All right, so here, why don't you hit me with 16 through 20? I can hear you. I just got to do something. I'm going to be out of the camera for a second.
So 16, I moved San Francisco up to 16. I think even with the injuries, this team's showing a lot of fight, and then they have the best pass defense in the league, allowing only 140 yards a game. I I left Philadelphia at 17, Indianapolis at 18. I moved Cleveland up 2 spots to 19. This is more of a function that there were 2 teams that were ahead of them that I dropped way down, and Cincinnati is the same thing. While I think both these teams are like right around this area, the 2 teams I dropped way down are way worse than this team.
Oh, I agree with you on that. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So I've got Chicago, I've got Vegas, Houston, Cleveland, and then I've got the Chargers at 20. Um, we talked about Chicago a little bit with the Raiders. I dropped them down 3 spots. I noticed you also dropped them 3, but you already had them a little bit higher. Um, from what I read with these guys, once again, I didn't see this game, but it sounds like they came off really sloppy. And for a minute there, I was really tempted to put Houston above them. Just the problem is Houston's 0-3, and so I just thought I can't really do it. But when I looked at the 3 losses that Houston's had, they're all basically top 5 teams, and so I kind of thought it's like it's the most deceiving 0-3 team out there, and I think in all 3 of those games they played pretty admirably, and so looking head to head, could Houston beat Vegas? I don't know, man. I think they probably could, but for now, Vegas has some wins, and so I got them a spot above. With Cleveland at 19, I bumped them up 2 spots, and kind of cool. We both got them at 19, but they're sticking to the run game, and that's their bread and butter. They got to stick with that. Washington did kind of give the game away with Dwayne Haskins, basically, turnover machine, and things just not working out really for them. But we got to keep an eye on Cleveland, because if they play tougher competition, are they going to do what they did early in the year against Baltimore and abandon the run game if they get behind, which I think is the bad thing to do. But you never know when you start getting desperate. So we'll see how things shake out. And then with the Chargers, man, I like their defense, but the Chargers are basically exactly what you would expect from a team that's got a great defense, but really no quarterback, or in this case, a young developing quarterback. It's going to be streaky for a while, and they've stayed in some games, like the Kansas City game. Nobody was expecting that, but until they get some more stability at quarterback, this team's going to be pretty streaky like this. It's going to be up and down.
Yeah.
All right, 21 through 25.
All right. So 21, I dropped Denver down from 20 to 21. While I think this team has a lot of fight in it, I'm concerned about the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I did this before last night's game.
Yeah.
So I might not have dropped them after seeing what they did last night, but we'll see after the weekend shakes out if they move up, or if I think I'm right here on them. I moved Carolina up 1 spot. I think Carolina has a lot of fight in this team, and the team's staying in games that they shouldn't be in.
Yeah, without their top guy too.
Yeah. So I like that aspect of it. I don't know how. I'm still trying to get a read on how good this team really is. I've watched they're the kind of the team that goes to the wayside when I'm watching my 8 games in the 1 o'clock window.
Gotcha.
So they kind of go by the wayside because there's been 10 games on at 1 o'clock like every frickin' weekend. Then Minnesota, I dropped Minnesota down 8 spots.
Yeah, you hit them hard, man. Yeah.
And part of it is I don't see this team having that fight.
Oh, their defense is just atrocious.
They stayed in it with Tennessee, and they only lost by 1 point. Yeah, but then again, it's they shouldn't have lost that game the way that game was playing out.
Yeah, I mean, it was what, 31-30, the final score?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a Mike Zimmer team. Your defense has to play better than that. We're talking Tennessee. They're not like a powerhouse offense. They're built on running the ball, man. I mean, it just for you to have them put up 31 points, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think their defense is going to kill them all year.
And I also dropped Houston down 8 spots to 24. The reason I killed Houston is because this past weekend I saw things that I didn't like. It looks like they're starting to give up a little bit.
I was worried about that. See, I didn't get to watch them play, but I saw some of the highlights, and you could definitely see some of the frustration in the players' faces. And it's pretty early in the year for that to happen, but they're 0-3, and if they start to implode, man, this will be it for them.
Yeah, but in all fairness, their first 3 games, Kansas City, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. I mean, come on, those are the 3 best teams in the
I agree.
Best teams in the AFC,
and that's just and that's why I didn't really penalize them much in my rankings, because I thought, hey, man, you just had a rough start to the year is really all it was.
I didn't penalize them because of the loss. I penalized them because of it. It looked to me like this team is starting to crack and give up, and that concerned me. And if they and this week they probably won't rise much because they're playing Minnesota, which what does that tell you on them? And then I left Miami at 25. I think this Miami team is better than we think it is. I still don't like the fact that they're continuing to start Fitz at quarterback. I started to say Fitzgerald, and that's why I was like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, Fitzy, just stick with Fitzy. But hey, I've got Miami at 25 also, and I agree. We've now seen a couple weeks in a row how well they can perform when Fitz is playing steady and not sloppy. And the defense has potential. This is a team that, as the year goes on, man, they could get better and better and better. And at the end of the year, we could be like, okay, man, like I was saying in the offseason, I think 2021's their year, but, we need to see that progression throughout the year so that when it goes to 2021, it's like, oh, yeah, they're going to be a force. So I got Minnesota at 21. I dropped them just 1 spot, even though I know I was just bashing them, but the teams behind them, I think, I got to wait and see them do more before I drop Minnesota all the way. And I don't know, maybe I'm hoping that they'll figure it out on defense and even offense for that matter. I know they just had Dalvin Cook tore it up for 180 yards or whatever, but it wasn't enough. 22, I'm probably going to kick myself for this, but I bumped up Detroit 6 spots. I just look at the crowd around them, and I'm like, okay, you got Minnesota, they could probably hang with them. You got Atlanta, they could probably hang with them. Cincinnati, I'm like, man, and then Miami, I'm like, they could probably, beat some of these teams. And so I just thought, you got a seasoned quarterback, you have potential. They got Kenny Galladay back. I gave them a bump. And like I said, I'm going to kick myself later. I know it, but it just felt right for this week.
Well, I mean, it makes it like when I was doing my initial rankings, I had them somewhere around 20 to 22, and I looked at it and I was like, I was so high on this team coming in.
Yeah,
I can't overreact to them beating Arizona. So then I looked more at it and I was like, well, I'm going to leave them right around where I had them and let them earn it.
Yeah, that was probably the right play. See, I gave him a big bump, and hey, love-hate, man. Love-hate. So then I got Atlanta at 23. I dropped them down 1 spot. This one bothered me. I thought they should have won that game, in my opinion. And I heard something like Matt Ryan went like 0 for 8 on passes in the 4th quarter or something. And it's like, man, you could have sealed this deal and you just shit the bed. What the hell's going on, man? Atlanta is they just can't close. So I don't know. I still love the offensive firepower. I think they got pieces on defense. They just got to stop the dysfunction and close some games out. Cincinnati, I put them at 24. I bumped them up 5 spots. And, I know that, bumping them coming off of a tie may be a little bit extreme, but man, I've seen potential every week now out of this team. And I like the players they have on both sides of the ball. I think they have, they got a solid quarterback now, good receivers, good running back. It's a bummer that they lost Uzoma at tight end. But then on defense, I think they got a guy pretty much at every level. And so, maybe their defense is a little bit suspect. But I could see this team as the year goes on, much like Miami, starting to get better, and just start winning more and more and more as they get to the end of the year. And so maybe this isn't their year that they make the playoffs and do something. But I think by the end of the year, we're going to feel pretty good that 2021, it will be a competitive year for them.
No, I like what I'm seeing in Cincinnati. I'm pleasantly surprised by Burrow's translation to the NFL.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, well, yeah, you got him higher than me, so I know that you're definitely digging them. And I don't know, I just I'm pacing it a little bit, but I think they're on the cusp of starting to beat some teams, man.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, 26 through 30. Who you got?
All right. So I got Jacksonville at 26. I'm never.
We got a little too high on them, a little too soon.
Yeah, and I had to, because they lost to Miami. I couldn't justify Jacksonville being ahead of Miami.
Yeah.
So I dropped Jacksonville down instead of moving Miami up, because the teams that I have up above, I think are better than Miami, maybe. I moved the Lions from 28 to 27. Like I said, I was like you, somewhere in the 22 range, and I forced it back down to give them a boost, but not that high of a boost, because it felt like an overreaction. And the first game of the year, they disappointed me so much that I couldn't. I had to have to earn it.
I agree.
And I dropped the Chargers down 1 spot, and the reason for this is really, I don't know about the team. Like, I see good things out of Herbert, but I also,
he's a rookie. He's going to make some of those rookie mistakes, man.
Yeah, and I don't see, Burrow's a rookie, but I see so much better out of Burrow than I do Herbert.
Yeah, they're different, totally different levels. Honestly, Burrow has a composure to him that it's just rare for any kind of a rookie quarterback. But I do like Herbert, man. He's had a couple back-to-back 300-yard games, and so the potential's there. But he's also had some of those passes where it's like, whoa, man, who you throwing to? So
yeah, exactly.
He's got a little bit of those rookie jitters he's got to work out of the system.
See, I was going to call it the Phillip Rivers traits. Maybe that's why I really liked him.
Well, how many turnovers has he had, though? I guess in my mind, I keep seeing the passes that are like out in the middle of the field to no one, and it's like, well, hey, you didn't turn it over, but man, that was an ugly ball.
Yeah. Washington, I moved Washington up 2 spots. This is mostly because the 2 teams I dropped below them, I'm really down on.
Yeah.
And then like Atlanta, I moved Atlanta down 1 spot. I don't know what is wrong with this team. Like, it seems to me that obviously Dan Quinn needs to be fired as coach, but if they fire him as coach, who are they going to promote? The defensive coordinator who has blown these leads? So I don't see an answer to what they do if they fire Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to stick with him for the season.
Yeah, I got to believe they're going to let him ride it out. It's like the players talked in the ownership to keeping him. And so I think now they're like, okay, man, we're giving you enough rope. If you hang yourself, you hang yourself. And so, but it could be ugly. I mean, if they lost a few more games consecutively, man. But I think it's tough to do something midseason. They're just hoping for a drastic turnaround, which could happen. They have the potential. They just are, I don't know, something's not clicking.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I've got Philly, Denver, Carolina, Jacksonville, and Washington. Basically, I dropped Philly by 3 spots. And, at this point, something is clearly wrong with Carson Wentz. Either he's playing with an injury. I know he started the year hurt and, they cleared him to play. Maybe something's still lingering that they're just not talking about. Or, maybe them drafting Jalen Hurts got in his head that bad. I don't know what it is, but I was actually talking to a friend of mine over the weekend who, or just the other day, I'm sorry, that lives in Philly, and he's watched all the games because I've not seen them all. And he said that it's, this is a team that's played without receivers before. They've played with guys getting hurt, and Wentz has looked phenomenal compared to this. And it's just something's wrong with Wentz. And until they figure that out, they're in trouble. And their defense has been suspect too. So, I mean, it's not really all on him, but a lot of it, I think, is on him. And so he's got to get things figured out before they got a shot. Denver, I dropped them 3 spots. And, I was trying hard to not drop these guys. And this is the thing, hey, like you, I did my rankings before the game yesterday. If I would have saw that, I probably wouldn't have let them slide like this. But the injuries definitely looked like they were hurting them bad last week. And I think that once they get locked back in the mix, they're going to start climbing back up. Hey, maybe even without Lock. I mean, they looked pretty good last night. So I agree with you. They got a lot of fight in them. And their defensive line has been getting pressure. I think that's been a little bit of a game changer for them, which has been nice, despite all the injuries. Carolina, I bumped them up 3 spots. This is one that I thought was funny because it's like, man, they arguably played better against the Chargers than the Chiefs did, which just sounds crazy. Yeah. But like you said, maybe the Chiefs were looking forward, and so that's why it was so tight for them. But they did it without their best player, man. They did it without McCaffrey. And so, I don't know if this is just a any given Sunday thing or what it is, but, I think offensively the Panthers, they got something going for them. And so I like it. So I gave them a little bit of a bump here. Jacksonville, I dropped them 3 spots. I think it hurts with them not having DJ Shark. I think it also hurts that their defense let Fitzpatrick just freaking do whatever he wanted against them. And it wasn't even just Fitzpatrick. It was the running game. I mean, just, Jacksonville's defense couldn't stop anything. And it was weird. I mean, Minshew, to this point, I've seen a very composed young quarterback. But in this game, it's like they got down early and he was trying to do way too much. And it just like spiraled down. And it's like, dude, if you would have just stayed steady, let the run game kind of get you back in there, I don't know. I think they could have fought back into it, but it was like he was just doing too much, and so it bit him in the butt. And then I got Washington at 30. I dropped them down 3 spots. I think Haskins holding them back. And I have heard that there are rumors already that Kyle Allen might get the nod. He came into Carolina last year, and he showed some flashes of potential. Rivera wanted to bring him in. It could happen sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay, down to the dogs, man. 31-32.
So 31-32. If I'm being honest, I don't know which one of these teams is worse.
Yeah, they're both pretty bad.
They're both terrible. Both of them have legit shots at going 0-16 this year, and that's the Giants and the Jets.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the board here. I got the same order. I got the Giants at 31 and I got the Jets at 32. I don't know, man. I don't want to say I was high on the Giants going into this year, but I had a lot of hope for Daniel Jones and Jason Garrett coming in as his offensive coordinator. And then I liked on the defense, they got Blake Martinez. They did some things, and I thought, man, I could see this team moving in the right direction. And every game this year, they've just looked like freaking dog shit. And so I just, this past week, that was it. It's like I threw in the towel. I'm giving up on them. I dropped them 6 spots. And I would have put them all the way to the bottom, except I think the Jets look even worse. So, hey, maybe they'll rotate. We'll keep keep flipping them around in these bottom two spots for a while.
Yeah, like I never was really that high on the Giants coming into the year. I had them at 27.
Yeah,
So
no, I know you were highly suspect on Daniel Jones this whole time. And I think I was trying to like talk you into, oh man, no, he could be good. He could be good. Give him a shot. No, they suck.
yeah,
And you know, I don't want to like put it all on Daniel Jones like that because that's not what my intention is. I think their offensive line is horrendous, and I think that's why Saquon Barkley couldn't get anything going. You know, I know he played the Steelers. That anybody against the Steelers are going to have a tough day, but you know, even aside from that game, he just couldn't get shit going on the ground. And I think some of that is the offensive line. And so until they beef that up, this offense is going to have problems. And then obviously the defense is just like missing pieces all across the board. So I don't know. They got a lot of work to do, man. I thought they were going to be a little bit closer than this.
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the power rankings. I guess let's go on and talk about our picks. I mean, you know, we don't really want to go back and talk about last week because it kind of sucked ass for us. But,
Yeah.
you know, all right. So, yeah, so we were talking about it before the call. You had 8 right. I had 9 right. So the tie has been broken, but it's really nothing to be proud of either way. We both had a shit week. You know, I don't know, man. We went from 14-2 in week 2 to freaking 8-9 each in week 4. I mean, week 3. Geez, I don't even know what I don't even know what to say, man. Everything just fell apart for us.
Yeah, it was a rough week. I think a lot of it had to do with teams won that probably shouldn't have won, and the Lions, for instance. I went back and watched a shortcut on the Lions, and yeah, people are saying that Kyler Murray gave the Lions the game, but if you look at his 3 interceptions, only one of them was a bad throw. The first one, he threw the ball too high, and the defender dove and caught the ball. The other 2 interceptions that Kyler Murray threw, the defender jumped the route.
Gotcha.
So I don't lay that as much on Kyler Murray as a lot of people have been saying.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, hey, that's encouraging for me because you know I got him in fantasy football. So
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, I guess let's talk about week 4 then, and we'll start off on a shitty note. But yeah, like we talked about last night, we both had Denver originally. We flipped our votes, and we look like a bunch of idiots because they just frickin' tore apart the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say about it, man. When I originally did my pick, I thought, I was a little bit hopeful that Locke would come back because there were reports that he was probably going to come back a lot sooner than people expected. And so I thought, hey, maybe he comes back. That'd be good. And then he didn't come back. And then also Jarrell Casey went out. And so I was like, whoa, man, I better reevaluate things. And my model flipped the other way. And so I was like, oh, it's at New York. Yeah, the model's saying go with them. And so I flipped it. And I'm regretting that decision.
And the thing I read today was Locke is still hasn't started throwing the ball yet. So
oh wow,
I mean,
yeah. So
he's 50-50 at best to play next week.
Okay. So yeah, that early report of him coming back sooner than later, that's basically been rebutted at this point.
Yeah.
It sounds like. Okay, so let's go to Sunday then, man. Baltimore at Washington. Do I even have to ask?
No, especially without Washington doesn't have Chase Young this week, and there's no chance that this defense is going to stop Baltimore's offense. There's also no chance that an offense led by Dwayne Haskins is going to get anywhere on this defense.
No, it would be a bizarro world if that happened. Yeah, when I looked at it, I mean, I just thought, hey, just real quick, Baltimore had a poor showing against the Chiefs. You know, even though this game is on the road, they're going to want to assert some dominance just to take some of that bad taste out of their mouth. And I think it's an easy team to beat up on. And so, you know, like I was saying, Haskins is holding them back at this point. And either way, even if Haskins had a great game, there's just not anywhere near the amount of talent on Washington's team to keep up with Baltimore for a full 4 quarters. So I think this is the Ravens all the way.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so Los Angeles Chargers at Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm on the Bucs. So a couple things about this game is Brady's won his last 8 games against the Chargers. The Bucs are averaging.
Ooh, that's a nice stat. I didn't know that.
Four sacks a game so far this year. They have and with Blaga and I forget the other guy, but two offensive linemen are out.
Trey Turner.
Turner, yeah. Turner are out. So I mean, it's Herbert's going to get his ass kicked all game and leading to the Bucs winning.
Period. Okay. I guess I could say ditto. I've got the Bucs. I think the Chargers have been playing admirably, in my opinion. But Herbert, he's showing some of those rookie mistakes. Either way, Tom Brady, in Tampa Bay in general, they're getting on the same page. They're starting to build up some inertia. I just think they're the better team. I mean, this is a win for them. All right, so we got the Seattle Seahawks at Miami Dolphins.
I got Seattle. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, especially with how shaky and how many passing yards Seattle's allowing in a game, and Miami's without Byron Jones this week. So yeah. I think it's going to be an incredibly high-scoring game, but Seattle, I mean, Russell Wilson's the ultimate deodorant this year.
Yeah, I just wonder, can Fitz keep it going? Because we saw how shitty he looked in week 1. And I know that he's tightened it up these last 2 weeks, but it just seems like that's his MO, is that he gets hot for a little while, then he gets cold, and then he gets hot again. And, usually he flips teams 4 times in between. And, so I don't know. I think Seattle has this game all the way, but I think if Fitz is still playing tight, he might be able to put some points up on the board and make it interesting.
Yeah, and the thing about it is also this week, I'm reading that Tua is not even going to suit up because he has a non-COVID related illness.
I saw something about that. I didn't hear the details, but yeah, I saw it was illness, not injury.
Yeah. So even if Fitz struggles in this game, with this secondary, this would be a good game to get to his feet wet, but he's from what I'm hearing, not suiting up. So
I gotcha. Okay. So the next one, we got Minnesota at Houston.
I normally would have picked Minnesota in this game, but that was before Minnesota wasn't able to practice all week. They had to shut down their facility till Thursday or Friday because they had to go through all the rounds of COVID tests because they were the last team to play Tennessee.
Yeah.
And with how shaky Minnesota's, I thought Minnesota could win this game, even though their defense is looking shaky. And I thought this was like the ultimate get right game for Watson.
Yeah.
But with Minnesota not practicing until Thursday or Friday this week, I think that gives the edge to the Texans.
All right. So listen, while you were talking, I had to pull up the schedule for Miami. I mean, it seems like a ways out, but this is the game right now. Just circle it on the calendar. Week 10 at home against the Jets. That's when Tua gets his start. And here's why it's a good one. Because it's at home. The Jets suck. Then they've got a bye week in week 11. And then they play the Jets in week 12 at New York. So it's like, hey, man, you're going to get 2 cracks at arguably the shittiest team in the league. So that's how we're gonna break you in, and then you go from there.
Possibly.
It's a matter of, can Fitz hold it together well enough for them to ride it out that long. We'll see. I think that they would prefer that. I think they're showing that they definitely want to go with the slow and steady route with Tua, which I think is smart. I mean, the guy, even though they're saying he's healthy from the hip thing, you don't want to rush him and then immediately kick yourself that you got him hurt. And then it's a bigger concern of, is it worse, and when's he coming back now? And but I don't know. We'll see. All right, so back to Minnesota at Houston. So you're going Houston.
Yes.
So am I. This is weird. It's a battle of two unexpected 0-3 teams, I think. Like I said, I'm shocked at how bad Minnesota's defense is. And despite all that, he keeps throwing shade at Cousins, which is just, whatever. They're idiots at this point. They just need to figure out how to get it together. But Houston, I think they've played well against top competition. And so, your comments about them maybe starting to give up, that has me a little bit nervous. But I think that with exception to the Green Bay game coming up in a few weeks, Houston could be starting a run this week against Minnesota. And I was looking at it, back in 2018, they started 0-3 and then they went on to win 9 straight games and make the playoffs. And I think that's a very extreme situation, but I think with that extra playoff spot this year, I could see Houston getting it in gear this week and making a run at it. I don't know if they'll pull it off, but I think that they could get rolling. I think the Green Bay game's going to be a speed bump, but other than that, they could start winning some games. All right, so Saints at Lions. I think you picked the Lions on this one, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You son of a bitch. That's fine. No, it's good. I got the Saints, but yeah, tell me about it.
Okay, so a couple things I looked at in the Arizona game. This defense created a lot of opportunities for the Lions. I thought the defense played very well against Kyler Murray, who I believe is a better quarterback than Drew Brees is currently. Because I think Drew Brees is having accuracy issues. I think he can't throw the deep ball. Yeah, they have Kamara, which could throw a wrench in that. They have a better running back. But I just think the defense steps up again, and I think it's a close game. And one thing I was reading earlier was Stafford's never thrown for less than 300 yards against New Orleans.
Yeah, I think they're like 3-3 against each other in recent years.
Yeah, and it's always a race to 30.
Yeah. So I think even though I picked the Saints, I think you could flip a coin in this game, man. I think honestly, and I know we went through the rankings. I bumped Detroit, but I don't think Detroit is on the same level as the Saints, but the Saints have some flags, and these two teams have played tight against each other in the last X amount of years. And, clearly Kenny Golladay coming back last week was a big factor for Detroit. Breeze, he's suspect right now. We need to see him open it up a little bit and see if they can actually do something offensively. But I went Saints, you went Lions. Hey, that's cool. We'll see how it shakes out. All right, we got Cleveland Browns at Dallas Cowboys.
I'm on Dallas. I hate myself for picking Dallas. I hate Dallas. I absolutely can't stand it, but I see dysfunction in Cleveland.
Okay. So I went Dallas also, and I dig what the Browns are doing by running the crap out of the ball. And I think that they should have success doing that against Dallas because Dallas's defense is highly suspect right now with all the injuries. But I think that the Dallas offense is just way too freaking explosive, and they're going to put points up. And I don't see the Browns keeping up on it. And so I don't know. I went Dallas. We'll see. We'll see if they pull it off. It's a dicey game in my opinion, but I like Dallas.
Yeah. I have it by a field goal, but
okay. Yeah. So yeah, dicey. Okay, so Jacksonville at Cincinnati.
So this is going to be a defensive game, I think. I think that okay. Neither team really has that many sacks that their defense has gotten. But the two quarterbacks in this game have been sacked a combined 24 times this year.
Yeah, that's huge in 3 weeks, man.
So I think that the defense, there's going to be a lot of sacks in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to mitigate that, they're going to start. Cincinnati's going to be able to convert to just handing the ball to Mixon, who's going to have a freaking ridiculous game.
Yeah.
Leading to the Bengals winning.
All right, I got you. I've got Cincinnati winning this one too, and hey, I still like Minshew despite the wheels falling off last week. I think Burrow is legit, and I think that Cincinnati has a better overall team at this point. Jacksonville's defense, man, they concerned me big time with the way Miami just beat up on them. And so I don't know. I think Cincy's just a little bit more balanced, and they come out on top on this one.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we got Indianapolis at Chicago.
Indianapolis at Chicago. I'm on Indy. I think that their running game's gonna lead to almost no pressure on Rivers, which is gonna allow him to make a decision that's not throwing to a Chicago team. And plus, I hate the Bears. I think they're the worst 3-0 team that's ever played in the NFL.
I got you. I went with Chicago, so I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I don't know what it was when I picked this game. I just thought Chicago's defense is good. I know that they've had some issues. What is it, stopping the run this year? I think they've been a little bit off. Which is probably why you're saying that. But I still can't trust Rivers. I think if they get some pressure on him, he's going to make some bad decisions, and that's going to have Chicago get over the top on this one. Okay, Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers.
Cardinals, I don't think the Panthers are. I didn't think the Lions were in the same league as the Cardinals either, but I think Kyler Murray bounces back. Like I said, he had the one bad throw that I saw. The other ones weren't on him. It was more the defense creating the opportunity versus Kyler making the wrong decision. He was throwing both 2 of the 3 interceptions were into single coverage where the receiver jumped the route. So gotcha. I think he gets right this, and Arizona wins easily.
Okay. I've got the Cardinals in this one as well. I just, I thought, what are the odds that Kyler Murray has a repeat bad performance? I think it's unlikely. The only thing that really concerns me is that with Carolina coming off a win and now they're playing at home, I think that they're going to have some momentum going into this game, but I still give Arizona the edge. Okay, New York Football Giants at the Los Angeles Rams.
The only question in this game is how many sacks is Aaron Donald going to have against this offensive line? 15, 25, 40?
The single season record in one game?
Yeah, this offensive line is for the Giants is terrible.
But, luckily...
The Rams are good, the Giants are terrible.
Yeah. No, I get it. I've got the Rams winning this one easily. To the sack comment... I would just say the only saving grace for Daniel Jones is that he's actually pretty athletic. And so I'm sure they're still going to get to him a few times, but he can get out of the pocket and move and, try and save his life a little bit. So we'll see. All right. Buffalo at Vegas.
So I'm on the Bills here. I think the Raiders defense is looking a little beat up. They looked a little undisciplined against New England as well. The offense looked mediocre. A little fun fact about this game is Josh Allen's looking to become the 3rd quarterback to throw 300 yards and 2 TDs in each of his first 4 games of a season. The other 2 quarterbacks are Peyton Manning and Steve Young.
It's ridiculous. Well, I'm going to challenge you here. I went with the Raiders. This is one where I think I'm going to kick myself, but which it was so stupid of me to do it because I have Buffalo way ahead of the Raiders in my power rankings. But I don't know. I put them in my model, and I don't know if it was the home field advantage factor or what, but it gave the Raiders just a little bit of an edge. My gut is telling me the Bills are going to win it no problem. But I don't know. I think I was fishing for reasons to go with the Raiders. You know, I'm a big Gruden fan. I like what Josh Jacobs has been doing. And hey, whatever. You got to roll the dice, man. It's Vegas, baby.
I'll give you
All
that.
right. Patriots at Chiefs.
All right, Patriots at Chiefs. Patriots are actually good this year.
Oh, yeah. I told you,
The
man. Don't
Chiefs,
doubt them.
the Chiefs are ridiculously good this year.
Yes.
And if they are able to continue to play like they did against the Ravens, they may not lose.
Yeah, they could be 16-0, even more, win it all the way, go all the
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
I mean, they just decimated the best or the second best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all over Kansas City in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I got Kansas City as well. I think that Belichick is, he's one of these guys that he's great at getting everybody to rise up and play at a high level. But their team doesn't have anywhere near the amount of playmakers as the Chiefs have. And like a lot of people talk about how Belichick is great at taking away a team's top player. Well, that's fine, but who are you gonna take away in Kansas City? Because they got like 7 other guys that can step up. So I just think it's going to be too tough a task, too tall a task. All right, Philadelphia at San Fran.
I'm all over San Francisco in this game. And one of the things I looked at this game is how bad Wentz has looked.
Yeah.
And he's facing the best pass defense he's faced so far this year. Mm-hmm. San Francisco, I said 147. It's 187 yards per game that San Francisco is allowing in the passing game this year.
Okay.
Wentz is going to continue to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, he still has no wide receivers. I don't know. I mean, are they getting Alshon Jeffrey back? But Deshaun Jackson might be out. I mean, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. They're in trouble. Yeah, I've got San Fran taking this one. My model actually had it a little closer than one would think. But, my model had the fucking Giants beating the 49ers last week. So the model's obviously not always right. There's some factors that are getting missed here. And some of it is, I have a high coaching grade on Shanahan, but, what he did with Mullins it far exceeded probably what I could have built into my model. So I'm pretty confident in the 49ers winning this game.
Oh, and 49ers also get Kittle back this week.
Yeah, but, so like I have him in my model, but I've discounted him a little bit just for the fact that that injury made me nervous. And so I need to see him at 100% before I put him back to his full rating. So, he gets a slight discount until we see that he's fully back.
Yeah.
Okay, so heading off to Monday, we got Atlanta at Green Bay, man.
All right. So what concerns me a little bit about this game is Lazard's out for a long time. He had
I saw that.
surgery.
Wow, yeah, that one caught me off guard. Yeah.
Adams might be out this game.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, I mean, Green Bay is just ridiculously throwing up 5 billion points a game, and Falcons are allowing 463 yards per game. So I mean, it's going to be high scoring, but it's Green Bay that's going to win this one.
Yeah, I've got Green Bay as well. I just can't go against them right now. I mean, you got 2 totally different scenarios. You've got Rodgers, who's just on a mission to crush some people, and then you got Atlanta, just in general, is just like collapsing on themselves. And so it's like, I don't know. I'd have to feel like I'm crazy to pick Atlanta in this game, even though, like you're saying, you can logically make some arguments that they'd have a shot, but you can also say, fuck, no way, man, can't happen. So I'm sticking with Green Bay. If they pull off the upset, hey, good for them, man, because Quinn obviously needs it, or else who knows, they can pull the plug on him. But I think Green Bay keeps rolling, man, and I'll ride that train as long as it's rolling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one thing, like, if they the thing that concerns me is if they pull the plug on Quinn, who are they going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
put in?
like you're saying, who steps in? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have an answer for that. I think they're in a shit situation, and like yeah, I guess I mean we already talked about it. They probably have to ride him out through the year, and if it's an embarrassing year, it is what it is. But they can get to the end of the year and they say, hey man, we gave you a full final chance to turn it around. We gave you the full 15 game slate, and you didn't get it done. There's like nothing else to wonder. They've got enough evidence at that point to make whatever decision they got to make. So.
yeah.
All right, so looking forward to next Thursday. We got Tampa Bay at Chicago. Who do you like in that game?
Tampa Bay.
And we reserve the right to change it just like we did this week. Uh,
I can't envision Foles doing anything against this Tampa Bay defense.
yeah,
Although then again, I couldn't see Foles beating Brady in the Super Bowl. So,
yeah.
and that year I was way off because I thought the only team in the NFC that didn't have a chance of making the Super Bowl was Philadelphia.
Yeah, and they had a sweet run, man.
Yeah.
It was that was like the Cinderella story, man, all the way. I got Tampa Bay winning this one also. I think I don't know, Brady. He's just consistent, and he knows from all of his years how to beat good defenses. And yeah, I think that Foles is going to have to play against Tampa Bay's defense. It's kind of like what you said. Chicago hasn't really beaten a good team yet, and I think that this is going to be a really tough test for them. And so, looking at it today, I'm sticking with Tampa Bay. Maybe 15 people get hurt this weekend, and I decide to change my pick, but I'm going Buccaneers for now, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, that's our picks. Hopefully, we can beat 8 and 9 wins. Fuck, I hope. Even though we're down a game because Tennessee and Pittsburgh is being rescheduled. But man, shit, we got to at least get double digits, man. Last week was just embarrassing.
Yeah. It was. It was terrible.
All right, well, what else is happening, man? What else you want to talk about football wise?
I don't think there's that much. It's just I'm interested to see what happens with Tennessee. Hopefully, obviously the people that got COVID are fine or whatever. But
Yeah.
but if the game next week is rescheduled, like it's being thrown out there that it might be, then what does the NFL do with that game? Does Tennessee and Buffalo finish the season with only 15 games this year?
I gotta believe. I mean, it's. We just gotta wait and see because it's so early that I think there's going to be an outbreak with another team somewhere down the road. And I think, like you were saying originally, a makeup week and pushing the playoffs out is probably the most likely scenario. But if these teams aren't in the running, then you don't have to do the makeup week. I just think it's too soon to tell.
Yeah, and one thing I did hear, and this was a couple of months ago, is when you bid for the Super Bowl, you guarantee that the stadiums and you have the availability the entire month of February.
Oh wow, I didn't know that, but that's interesting.
So I think there's a good chance, like even if they push the Super Bowl back a week, it's pretty much guaranteed that you have the availability to host the event that week.
Nice. Well, here I got one for you, and you probably saw it or read about it already. But our man Eric Fisher, Central Michigan University, scored a fucking touchdown last week. Did you see that shit? They did one of those little sneak plays where he was like an eligible receiver on the offensive line, and they got him in the end zone. Man, caught a pass.
I completely forgot about that one.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I got to catch those Central Michigan highlights and point those guys out, man. So
yeah,
and plus too, I mean, shit, he was the number 1 overall pick, man. That's it's impressive. I'm just glad he's getting his time in the spotlight. Are you looking it up right now? I just saw your glasses get bright like you pulled up a web page.
Oh, I did. I was just thinking because there was a tweet about it that basically not only do you have to worry about all those weapons on that fucking offense, you also have to worry about the left tackle.
Yep. Hey, that's cool, man. Honestly, I'm really happy for him. And a few years ago, he had that penalty in the playoffs when Alex Smith was there, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, man, they'd be in the freaking Super Bowl or make a huge run and this and that." And it's like, you know, this was they got there last year, they won it. That's cool, and this was nice that he got a little touchdown action, and hey, it's I don't know. I'm just showing some love for my Central Michigan guys.
So so I just pulled up the article on it, and the play where they flipped it to the fullback, that play name was called smoked sausage,
I heard about that. Yeah,
and the left tackle play was catch and release.
catch and release. Ooh, I didn't hear that name, but all right. See, it should have been something cooler than that. I don't know. Catch and release is not.
Well, actually, it makes sense because apparently Eric Fisher's nickname's Fish.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, yeah, I guess then it makes more sense. It makes more sense now. Sweetness, sweetness. All right, man. Well, hey, that's all I got. You got anything else you want to chat about?
No, that's all I got.
Okay. Well, hey, once again, it was fun. Anybody watching, thank you. We appreciate it. Hit us up with some comments, subscribe, anything, let us know you're out there. We appreciate your support. And James, I will catch you in a little while, my friend.
All right, sounds good.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Gridiron Grinder. Hut, hut, hike.